Hi guys, I'm Kasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to discuss movies and horror. And today I'm bringing you a spoiler-free review of the movie The Park.
It's coffee time!
I have not heard many people talking about this movie, and even though this was not a perfect film, I think that it had a really cool and interesting concept, so I'm here to talk to you guys about it. This movie is directed by Charles Ngo, and this is his first full feature film. It is a weird hybrid. It's a drama, horror, sci-fi thriller, and after watching the movie, I would say it's more of a drama thriller than truly horror, but it does have some horror included in the story. It is kind of like a weird and interesting dystopian tale about children that are left alone in the world fending for themselves, and how life then is reduced to basically survival and getting food and just making it alive one more day, and also of course how to get to safety. So I thought this movie had a really interesting concept, and let's dig in. When a mysterious virus starts killing all adults, society is left to be governed by children living on borrowed time. After the adult population is wiped out, rival kids battle for control of an abandoned theme park. Danger lurks around every corner, and they must do whatever it takes to survive. This is a dystopian coming-of-age story, and for the majority of the film we are following three kids that are in an abandoned amusement park trying to survive. At the beginning of the movie we do get a kind of like a quick flash forward introduction of what happened, from the virus spreading, the adults dying, and then the children being left alone. And the virus affects everybody the moment they hit puberty, so basically the only survivors at the moment in the world are children that have not reached puberty. I thought this was a really interesting concept, and I wanted to see how the director managed this, because it is not easy to have a complete full-length movie where the whole kind of weight of the movie lays on the shoulder of children. After society collapsed and they are no longer adults to kind of rule the world, we have struggling children that have separated in different kind of groups that are rivals. They all steal from each other, and the darkest side of humanity is coming out because all they think of is getting food and going to somewhere that is safe. The cast of this movie did quite a good job, considering that, you know, it is a lot of weight to put on kids' shoulders to give them a whole full-length film. We get introduced at the beginning to two kids, boy and girl, that have been hunting together in the woods, getting food, when they stumble upon an abandoned amusement park, and there is a girl that lives there that has been hoarding stuff, and basically she is surviving and thriving in a way as much as you can in this situation in the amusement park. Based on the state that the amusement park is at, it is completely ruined, broken, dirty. I would assume that there has been at least 10 years since the virus starting spreading or something, and I felt like sometimes the kids made cultural references or pop references that perhaps they should not have been able to quote or to know, because even if they were 3 when they, for example, saw something, you know, after everything that happened, I don't know if they will be quoting pop references or cultural references like that. Of course there's still probably books somewhere, but I don't believe there is much electricity left. There is of course no television anymore. The books, they might be also damaged or who knows where, because the characters that we encounter are kind of wild, live in the forest, and I don't know, that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. There were a couple of references that I thought, would these kids really be saying this if, you know, they've been struggling for survival during like 10 years or something? I don't know. The movie also offers flashbacks of some of the characters. They are trying with this to bring more character depth and for us to understand where the characters come from. My issue again is that based on the state of the world and this park, I mean, it's been at least 6 to 7 years, maybe 10 is a bit too exaggerated, but it's been a couple of years for the world to look like it looks in the movie, which is really cool looking. But when you go to the flashbacks, the main characters look exactly the same. I don't know if it was because it was hard to cast younger children to play this part, or I don't know, but it is very obvious that those flashbacks are from like not even a year ago, because children grow quite rapidly. So I felt again that made the story a little bit less believable for me, but I'm probably just nitpicking here, to be honest. At the end of the day, the flashbacks did not bring enough to the story to justify the flashbacks being there. I feel like they could have just completely forgotten about the flashbacks and just went a little bit more deeper into the way society is divided at the moment, the different type of groups that the kids have built and why and what they do. I would have found that a lot more interesting than getting flashbacks that were A, not believable, and B, not really needed to move and carry the story forward. With the park, the director shows us his ideas. You know, it's kind of like a Lord of the Flies-esque future in which only children remain, with all the adults having been killed off by a mysterious virus. So the director uses this kind of lonely setting to tell an often beautiful story of young friendship, but unfortunately a lot of things didn't work as well as I would have hoped. As I mentioned before, I really like the setting of this amusement park. That's where the majority of the movie takes place, and I love to see a kind of almost in ruins amusement park and children trying to be children in that park after everything that happened. There was a creepy carousel, and I love to see the set in general. The cinematographer Jared Levi, who is also making his debut in this film, I think he did a really good job utilizing a lot of different cool angles from the park, from above. So I think they did a really good job when it comes to the cinematography. There are some scenes introduced here and there that are kind of videos explaining what happens when a kid reaches puberty, and the way they were shown and portrayed, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the game Fallout for some reason, and I really did love those snippets. When it comes to the theme of this story, I feel like the park is bringing up something that has been on the conversation for a long time, which is that adults are kind of breaking and are kind of killing the world that we're gonna leave to our children. So it is a movie that is kind of depicting a little bit the way that humans are destroying the planet. So it does have a little bit of social commentary in that regard, or call it, you know, climate change commentary. But for me, the most important theme in this movie, and the one that I really like to see portrayed, is the fear of puberty, the fear of getting old. When you are growing up, a lot of things are changing at a very fast pace, and you're scared of growing up, you're scared of the next chapter in your life, you feel confused, there's a lot of feelings, hormones, things going on. So I did like that kind of idea of what happens when you reach puberty and then there is a huge change. In real life, luckily you do not die, but it's kind of, you know, the movie's kind of addressing that fear using horror. So again, this is not really a horror movie. There is no zombies, even though there was a virus. There is not truly a horror aspect to it, apart from you know, the virus that killed all the adults, and still, if you're a kid and you grow up, when you reach puberty, the virus will kill you. I think the horror in this movie was more kind of puberty as an apocalypse, which is a quite interesting concept. Again, that's part of why I wanted to talk about this film, is because I think it had amazing ideas, even though the execution was perhaps not in all ways perfect. And the park doesn't have any problem getting down to business. Apart from killing every adult, there is violence between the kids, which is something that I know a lot of directors shy a little bit away from. But having a concept for a movie like The Park, you need to have that violence and have kids attack kids. But apart from all of that violence, I felt like this movie was more a thriller drama, a dystopian drama. And I feel like, again, even though there was a lot of violence between the kids, the movie also had a lot of heart and kind of reminded us of human connections and friendships. At the end of the day, I gave this movie a 2.5 out of 5 because I would still recommend you guys to go and watch it, even though this is not a pure horror movie. It's actually a movie that is quite sweet because we have kids here that are still kind of trying to survive. There's endurance in the film. There is this hope that they still have when everything has been lost, when they are basically cursed and there's nothing they can do to stop dying the moment they hit puberty. I really enjoyed the concept of the movie. I thought it was a new kind of take. I just wish that it would have had a little bit more of the darkness and the horror that I love in a story. But nevertheless, I do feel like it's worth a watch, and I have not heard many people talking about it. I think the performances were quite strong considering they're all still kids, and it's not always easy to have a full-length film where your whole cast are kids. The movie also offers us beautiful visuals. I just wish they would have pushed a little bit harder with the darkness and the horror. Alright, you guys, let me know down below if you have watched the movie, if you even knew about it, what you thought of it. Let's talk about it as always in the comments down below. Thank you guys as always so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in our next coffee time. Bye!